Welcome to Little Panda's Spooktober month. We will listen to stories from across the world. Real or not real, it's up to your mind.
There's something going on with the kids. All of them, not just mine. Joe thinks I have an overactive imagination and, when coupled with the sleep deprivation of the past week, I'm reading too much into things. Kids are always going in and out of weird phases, he keeps telling me. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll start by telling you we still have Maya with us. I told my parents about the prowler and that he wasn't caught. I told them the entire story, except the part about the fact that I know the prowler wasn't human. They insisted Maya stay with us for the time being. As far as she is concerned, she hasn't let her guard down. She spends her time when we are home trotting around the house, checking on each of us in turn before choosing a spot near one of us to settle down for a nap lazy. There's no turning that off. She's actually been a little underfoot, but I'm not complaining. I've burned some sage and put lavender and pine on the windowsills, and honestly, it's been quiet since the incident. I haven't slept particularly well, but so far so good in the random prowler department. It's been really nice outside this week, and the kids have been playing outside just about every day. Homework is light. Even the teachers want the youth of the town to get some good outdoor time before the heat and humidity of summer sets in, driving everyone indoors or to the shoreline during the middle of the day. Tommy and Rose play with Kate, who is 2 doors down on our street, as well as 2 boys an additional house down, but on the street behind ours. Jacob is in Rose's class at school, and his brother Henry is in 3rd grade. Everyone's houses back up to one another. Some yards having fences, other ringed by trees. The spread of backyards between houses is a giant playground to them. The retired homeowners have all expressed that they love watching the group of 5 running back and forth between the playscape in our backyard, to the treehouse in Kate's, to the pine trees in the boys'. It reminds them of when their own children were little. Mia has been going with them, trailing behind Tommy, who always struggles to keep up on his little legs. Late in the week, the heat hit, temperatures reaching 97 degrees in the afternoon. Mia, as I mentioned before, is a long-haired Dachshund, and while I enjoyed watching her hop along behind the kids, I also didn't want her to die of heat stroke by staying out with them for hours. Life seemed to be returning to normal, and after spending several nights of little sleep, I was beginning to relax. I sat on the deck under an umbrella with my laptop, researching some of the links and leads left for me after the previous posting. Thanks again. All. I heard the back gate of Henry and Jacob's fence shut, and knowing they would be happily playing beneath the covering of pine and oak trees. I went inside with Maya to cool off and start dinner. We made a new friend, Tommy announced on his way in the door, sweat sticking his hair to his forehead. His name is Tickman. No, Rose sighed in exasperation. It's Stickman. Tommy still had trouble blending his consonant sounds together. It was a source of frustration for him, but for the most part we all spoke Thomas. He's new. He's really tall, but he told me he wasn't a grown-up. He was just really tall. He doesn't like the sprinkler, and he doesn't like going into the sun, so we played with him in the shade. I know what you're thinking, and believe me, I was right there with you. I pulled out my phone and typed the rake into Google, then clicked to images. Each image I showed her brought on a new negative response. No, he's not Stickman. He's too fat. Stickman is skinny like a stick. Ew, Mummy, no, that's a monster. Monsters aren't real. That guy has glowy eyes. Stickman doesn't need eyes because he only needs to listen and talk. He doesn't care about seeing. I tried the same thing typing in Slenderman, but she just laughed and said no. Mummy, he doesn't wear a suit. It would fall right off of him. Finally, I handed her a paper and asked her to draw me a picture of Stickman. She literally drew a stick figure with fingers. Not much help there. But then she added ears and a big mouth directly in the middle of its head. No nose, no eyes, just a mouth. He's pretty funny looking, don't you think? I asked, trying to mask my feelings about the creepy figure. You don't think he's kind of scary? Mummy, it's not nice to ignore someone because of how he looks. My daughter replied with a somber look. You know that. Stickman is nice. He tells us secrets. Secrets are a deal breaker in our house. Surprises are allowed otherwise. How would we ever hide gifts, plan parties, etc.? But secrets bring nothing but trouble. Rose, remember that secrets hurt people, and nobody should ever tell you to keep secrets from your parents. That's not something we do. I know, she replied brightly, taking a bite of chicken. Stickman didn't tell us we couldn't tell our parents the secrets. He told us Mr. Smith is a mean drunk, and sometimes he hits Mrs. Smith. And he told us Mrs. Smith never had kids because she had a botched aberration when she was a teenager and couldn't have any after that. She struggled over the word aberration. I quietly asked, "Did Stickman tell you she had a botched abortion?" "That's it," she replied. "What's an abortion?" "Something you'll learn about when you are older than 6. I replied shortly, grabbing my phone and calling Henry and Jacob's mom. Eva could immediately tell something was wrong when she picked up the phone. She and I get along very well, and while our work schedules don't always match up, we see each other for school events and try to get together every once in a while for a few drinks. I asked her if she had any visitors over who were talking to the kids, or if she saw anyone when they were in the backyard. I told her that Rose had told me some very private and inappropriate things about the Smiths, and while I had no idea if they were true, a 6-year-old had no business hearing them. The only thing they did while they were here was play hide and seek, Ava told me. At one point, all 5 of them got into the tree, even Tommy got up onto a branch. There was nobody back there with them that I saw. She promised to ask her boys if anyone named Stickman had talked to them and what he said. I texted Kate's dad, Anthony, to give him a brief rundown and ask him to talk to her. "Guys," I resumed my place at the table with them, "I don't think that you should play with Stickman anymore. Telling secrets isn't nice, even when you're allowed to tell your parents." Rose looked at me, her brow furrowed and head cocked to one side. "He told us you wouldn't want us to play with him. He told us it was because he was different. You told us that it's not nice to tell people they can't play with you just because they're different." Tommy, with a mouth full of carrots, nodded soberly in agreement. Stickman said being different can be fun. He can hear far, far away sounds, and he gets to know lots of things that grown-ups don't want him to know. Like that, the new neighbours across the street are swingers, but I didn't see a swing set in their backyard, so they must not have gotten a new one yet. We could let them use ours while they wait. I suppose. I gaped at her, too stunned to even form words. She continued in that way that kids do once they start. I'll spare you the details of what she told me, but suffice to say I can't look at any of my neighbours the same. After a few more in-depth secrets, I cut her off, telling her that all of this was private information and that I didn't want her telling anyone else what Stickman had told her. I've looked online for anything resembling her story and found nothing. Tomorrow, I'm going to see our priest. My family is filled with devout Catholics, and we have some ties to some people who may be able to help, or at least come bless the houses or something. I've abandoned the Slenderman and rake leads, at least for now. I told Joe when he got home about what they told me, and he thinks I'm overreacting. He says it is likely an older kid who has had a grand old time talking through the fence to the littler kids and destroying their innocence. Unfortunate, but not supernatural. I have to work tomorrow, and I made him promise not to let the kids run rampant through the backyards alone. He agreed only because even if it was just an older kid, the content of what he was telling the kids was less than appropriate for them. After locking all the windows and doors and putting the outside lights on, I went to finish tucking the kids in. Tommy gave me his normal send-off. "I love you to death," as he linked pinkies with me. As I kissed Rose on the forehead, she sighed contentedly, reached for my face and gave me an Eskimo kiss. Then, instead of telling me that I was her best, told me,
"Little one, what did the man say?"
Nothing.
"Did he do anything?"
Nothing.
"What did he do to you, baby girl?"
Nothing.
"Princess? Princess, we know he did something."
Nothing. Here. He's here.
He's not here. You're hallucinating.
Nothing.
It broke off into static. I freaked out, switched it off. I shouldn't have. The moment I switched it off and turned around, there he was. He looked through my window at me, before he broke it with something that had the look of a tentacle. I screamed. I screamed for my life as my wife and daughter broke through the door and asked me what was wrong. He followed us. He's here. I said. I took my family and headed towards the mountain. This house wasn't safe. We came to the mountain, and I found a cave for us to hide in. I fell asleep almost immediately. My dream was, however, a nightmare. Grain everywhere, static, grinding. Slender Man kept coming closer and closer without moving at all. Then I woke up. I noticed my wife was gone and my son was in the corner, crying. He said he was mumbling. Anna, what did the man say?
Nothing.
Stay tuned for next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Little Panda is the best YouTuber there is, picking me to voice her ending. What a neat choice.